Just as a reminder, school board meetings are recorded, microphones are hot, and cameras in the back. And Mr. Turner, whenever you.
Microphones here at work. Big
That's-
colors.
Thinking about it, spinning. Oh, good.
Tempered update.
We're almost there. Our docs are up. All right. Well, good evening, everyone. At this point in time, we will do call to order and flag salutes. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
Under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
And the next on our agenda is our roll call tonight. And is Thomas online?
He's on the call right now.
He's on a call right now. We're expecting our board president to be intermittent tonight. He is to work. As most of y'all probably know, he is with the fire department here locally. With that, Michael,
Present.
Susie,
That's right.
Thomas,
He's
Still not online.
Grant's here.
Grant's here. That was next.
Oh, yeah.
All right, and I'm present, sort of, Neil Turner. And with that, now we move on to, do we have anybody to make any public comment? Oh, that'd be
No,
down under
no.
3. Okay, I see. At this point in time, we're going to be doing our board reorganization of the board president and the board vice president. And I think I have it written right here. Sort of kind of. Nominations do not need a second. And I'd like to nominate Thomas Trott for president. Are there any other further nominations for president? Any other nominations for president? Any other nominations for president? Hearing none, nominations are closed. This is a roll call vote for all school board members. So at this point in time, start with Grant,
All right.
Susie,
Yes.
Michael,
Thomas.
and yes, Neil, and I vote for Thomas also. So where's my happy hammer? Thomas will be we have already spoke to him, so he has agreed to do this position. So we're not just throwing him under the bus. Thomas will be the next board president for the next year. All right. Next, vice president. That's a position I currently hold. That's why I'm chairing the meeting instead of Thomas tonight, for all those that do not know. All right, at this time. Looking for nominations.
Nominate Neil.
All right. Neil Turner has been nominated. Are there any other further nominations for vice president? Are there any other further nominations for vice president? Are there any further nominations for vice president? Hearing none, nominations is closed. And we'll call for a roll call vote at this time. Grant,
All right.
Michael,
Aye.
Susie,
I.
and I'm Neil. I will say yes, I vote for myself. Okay. Our board has been reorganized, same as it was. which is still a very good thing. And now at this time, we have nothing under two. We'll move on to number three, public comment for items that are on our agenda. Do we have anyone here to?
No.
No, no one here. And do we have anyone online?
No.
Shall we wait 20 seconds?
No.
No. Okay, we have no public comments at this time for items that are on our agenda. Next, we'll move on to number four, Board Appreciation Month.
Yes, so thank you so much for taking just a few minutes for letting us thank you for all that you do for our school district, for our kids, the time you commit on a regular basis to ensure that our kids have a good opportunity presented to them as they go to school, gosh, for many, many years in our district, right? So I really want to thank you. And we have some other people that want to thank you or have sent something to show their appreciation. Nicole Slavey was here shortly, right before the meeting started. She stopped by with these bags and these thank you cards. So make sure that you take a peek and see what's there. We also have, let's see. Got some cards. Yeah.
That's cool.
We have some cards from all the schools. I do want TK to share. Are you gonna say
They're
anything about
so
what school
cute.
presented? Okay, it's second. The middle schools presented this, and so when you're looking at that, just know that it came from the middle school. There's lots of things there from
Last few pages are pretty cute.
yes.
And then those little white pieces of paper, these are from. Just our two GP pages. class.
You get to keep it, yes.
We're gonna- yeah.
Like Christmas, isn't it?
Yeah.
With all kinds of special messages and.
Stuff. Stuff. Very overwhelming.
And this one, if you want to share it and pass it down, that's from the dual language kiddos. And these, I think, are from, oh, these are from REIP. So these are our preschool kids. There's only four, well, there is four of them, so.
That card is from.
Okay, and this card is to the board and from RPS. And then Kevin is here tonight to thank you on behalf of principals and then.
Oh,
We speak just a little bit. Oh, sure. Kevin?
It's a little bit long, but it's worth it. Good evening. It's an honor and privilege to stand before you tonight to express our deepest gratitude and appreciation for our local school board. Your unwavering commitment, thoughtful leadership, and tireless dedication to the success of our schools does not go unnoticed. First and foremost, we want to thank you for being more than decision makers. You are active participants in the life of our schools. Your presence in our buildings is a testament to your genuine care and concern for the students, staff, and families of our community. Whether it's attending events, walking the halls, or engaging with students and teachers, your visibility sends a powerful message. We are all in this together. Your thoughtful approach to leadership inspires confidence in everybody you serve. You listen intently, ask meaningful questions, and approach challenges with open minds and collaborative spirits. You balance the immediate needs of today with the vision for the future, ensuring that our schools remain places where our students can learn, grow, and thrive. The decisions you make are not easy, but you handle them with grace, keeping our students at the heart of every choice, from supporting innovative programs to advocating for resources. Your efforts directly impact the opportunities available to our students. Your support empowers our educators to do their best work and helps create an environment where every child feels valued and supported. It is not lost on us that this role requires sacrifices, and this is really important. You dedicate countless hours often behind the scenes, unrecognized, reviewing policies, discussing budgets, and attending meetings, all while balancing your personal and professional lives. This selflessness speaks volumes about your character, your commitment to public service. On behalf of the administrators of our district, thank you for your guidance, your compassion, and your steadfast support. Because of your efforts, we continue to grow stronger as a community and united in our shared mission, prepare every student for a bright and successful future. You are not just leaders, you are advocates, champions, and partners in education. And for that, we are deeply grateful for all that you do for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin. And Andrea, do you want to just share what?
How do I follow that up? No, so I'm representing the Rochester Middle School Boosters. We have gotten you guys those portfolios to put your fancy little notebooks in, so we have something a little bit more professional to give you each day. So yes, thank you for all that you do. Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right.
Wonderful.
So-
Goodies. And I got a brownie too. I see the brownie.
Homemade.
We'll have to make sure I take a bite when I don't have to speak. It looks very yummy. Wonderful. Thank you, everyone.
Oh, look at that.
Oh.
Very cool.
That one.
There's so many goodies in here, man. Tell you. Love
The
it.
kids had fun putting some things together, and don't miss the sign behind you, which is from Grand Mound. And I think all of the kids signed it, so yes, that was out at recess and lunches, and they all found time to get there.
Should hang that up in the hallway.
Yes. Mhm. Definitely could.
Very awesome. Very heartwarming. Gee, thank you to all the teachers and administrators and all the kids. You know, this stuff's it's like, wow. Awesome. I don't know, combined. And this is really neat. It's a big one too. They're all etched and.
That one's wait till after Christmas to open my presents. Now you ruined it for me.
It's to kick off the new year party. Very, very nice. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Any other board members like to say anything?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Really nice.
We know how much time and effort you all put in and certainly leading the district day to day. So we did sign up for this and thank you for all that you're doing. Keep the district moving forward. Yeah.
What's that?
Excellent. All right. Again, thank you, everyone. At this point in time, we'll move on to number 5, our consent agenda. This time I'd like somebody like to make a motion. Consent agenda tonight.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Grant moves. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
And we have a second. And do we have any discussion? Hearing no discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. All right. Next, we're moving on to our reports. And we have our student representatives tonight.
Karen's, an ASL competition.
All right, so I'll start with the sports. Both basketball teams are struggling record wise, but I think that our team has made a lot of progress with the new coach, and the record doesn't really show that. But I mean, in the next 3-4 years, if he decides to stick around and like the other guys, he should start showing that he was worth it, and he really wants to watch us and our school succeed. And I don't know much about the girls bowling team, but from everything I've read on the announcements in the morning and everything in the bulletin, they're beating Tumwater and WFOS. I mean, they're doing really well, so that's good. The moving on from sports, the semester's ending, and all the teachers that I've noticed that there's a kid struggling they're all making like their best effort to get that kid up, so they don't have to redo the class or. Yeah, take it again, do it next year, whatever, like most every teacher I have is really trying their best, which I know everybody appreciates, so. Then, we have our dance coming up, the winter ball, it's February 1st, I think. Tickets for $15 a piece and it'll go for sale Monday, so. And then the last thing I have is about ASB. Like I said last time, it's getting better with Miss Baird and Miss Kincaid directing it, but Miss Baird told me to bring this up, so I'm going to, and we all kind of agree, so. We wanted to paint the hallways. I'm pretty sure you guys all know about that. She said, and it got, it got approved from like our end. I'm not sure how far it got up here, but the hallways are all like this like shade, like weird shade of white, and it's like makes the hallways a little bit darker, and all of us in ASB we're all thinking that repainting it like a more vibrant white color, and we were gonna do that, and we had a lot of our parents and other students that were willing to come help do that. So I think that would be a very good idea, and I mean the hallways they're I don't know, it's dark, it's not, it makes kids tired probably if we had some like nice bright walls and maybe quotes on there or something, like bringing more positive impact to our school, you know. I think that's a pretty good idea. And if you guys have anything to say that I could reflect to her, that I can write down real quick, that'd be nice. Tell her tomorrow.
Tristan, I will let the board know. The board wasn't aware that you were painting. And we
Okay.
did have conversations with Mr. Dahl and other people. I know that you guys wanted to do some painting and some work in the building, which we think is great.
Yeah.
We just have to do a lot of prep work and make sure we have all the pieces in place, because painting the walls, we got to make sure looks like a professional is doing it.
Yeah,
And so that's where we had to kind of put a halt on it for the time being. I think you were gonna do it right before Christmas break.
yeah, it was pretty rushed. I mean, I didn't see how it would be very successful, but I feel like we had enough people that are willing to, that it is something that's doable.
I think you totally had the people. That wasn't the
Yeah.
problem. I think it was putting the systems in place so that we had, you know, the straight lines, and we knew
Yeah.
exactly what was gonna be painted, and we had the right paint ordered so that it was gonna be paint that is for the walls, because there's
Yeah.
certain paints that we know. So just really planning and putting a good plan in place. I appreciate that you guys want to go after something like that and make the school a brighter place that you take pride in and that you can make your own. I think that's great.
Yeah.
We just need to make sure we're doing it so that it's something that it's gonna last a long time, it's done right. And I know we're willing to have conversations and talk about that and how do we get that done.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
Cleaning, prepping, lots of blue tape, lots of paint on the walls, not on the floor. And it'd have to be done on a weekend.
Yeah, that's what they were doing. Mhm.
That I could see it happening.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was her idea mainly, but we were also really like, I don't know, just like the bathrooms are kind of like, they're dull and like stalls get graffitied every single day. I mean, I think if we had something nice for kids, we'd respect it more. And
That would be true.
Maybe if the students were involved in like you're suggesting,
Yeah.
then maybe other students wouldn't
yeah,
graffiti it.
Yeah. yeah, I mean,
Sounds like a great idea, and it sounds like something that you've got worked out, and sure our maintenance man right there would be able to help you or make strong suggestions.
Yeah.
As how things should be done. And sounds like a great idea.
yeah, I think it, I mean, it did, I mean, I don't assume it will be done this year, but just thinking of the future kids that will walk in the halls, I think it'd be pretty nice to walk into a school that's bright and seems like fun, and you know. Yeah.
I appreciate bringing it up and talking about it.
Great, and thank you for bringing it to our attention tonight. All right, at this point in time, we're gonna move on to business reports. Oh, she is.
I get to help it.
I'm gonna give it a try.
Okay. Jill has been fighting the the crud that's been going around, and she is just in the mode of returning. She got it bad, so I think every other person gets it really, really bad.
Well, no pressure. If you need her help, by all means.
Well, you all know, because I have to leave the room coughing, so that's the sign, I need help. At January, our FTE count went down a little, which is traditional, to 2,033 FTE. Running start participation went up to 62.2. FTE heart went down a little to 32.5. Our sped count relatively stable at 362, and we were able to count 7 students in the dropout reengagement.
Nice.
At the visual of that, our enrollment trend, you'll see in Jennifer's slide, the big red lines. So we're kind of getting in that grouping of that's about average for us at this time of year. At the end of December, the fiscal year was 33.33% of the year complete. Our revenues were just under 33 and our expenditures at about 36. So pretty close to on track. A little further breakdown of the general fund ending fund balance. So we ended December at 2.9 million. 571,000 is restricted for carryover revenue. So those are things that have restricted purposes, LAP, food service, TK, CTE, things that we can only spend on those programs. And then 2.3 million was committed to the fund balance policy.
If I can point out real quickly, in the bottom box on the screen, or it's also in the bottom left-hand side, if you're looking at the report on board docs, the 8% budget expenditures, the minimum balance there that it shows you the 8%, that would be the $3 million. And I just want to point out how that aligns with what we spend on a monthly basis when you look at the total expenditures there. And so we are talking about the policy tonight, where we talk about what our fund balance projections should be. Just to make that comparison there.
So can you restate, I know the point you're trying to make.
I don't think I said it
So,
very well, though.
I see the 8% being at 3 million.
Yep.
And then what are we putting out each?
If you look at the total expenditures, what, about halfway down, maybe just, there you go. So you look at that and you see that our total expenditures for a month, it costs us just over $3 million, $3.5 million. And so when we have an 8% of our budget, that's at about 3 million. So we would have just enough to cover our monthly expenditures at 8%.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking.
Have any questions on financial information? Oh, there is another random point about financial that I wanted to point out. In last May, June, July-ish, when the audit report came out, we had received a finding regarding our purchase of Chromebooks in the Emergency Connectivity Fund. And the state auditor had actually issued a finding to most every school district in the state of Washington that received those funds. We were quite positive we had followed the intent and guidelines of the federal law, and we received a letter from the FCC agreeing with us that we complied, and we do not have to pay any money back, and they say we're good to go.
Yeah.
Yes.
The auditor,
Good job,
the correction.
No,
Sorry.
that's not how it works.
I know. Just want to give the opportunity.
She's coming back next week, so I'll gladly show her the rest. Yes,
The new governor.
yes.
At least the headlines were that protecting K-12 or K. Is there any new money in it, or is it pretty much just folding?
Well,
Burn with what?
Ferguson has only issued like his budget priorities and highlight. It's not a formal budget document. But in there, it's the new money is all universal free meals for all students.
Okay.
Other than that, it's all just protect K-12.
But not, we haven't heard any Pep City work.
No, not in this priorities.
Yes. Be talking to some committee people soon enough. Yeah. They're gonna be a priority this year at the state level. Excellent. So at this point in time, other questions, nothing else?
Jill's actually gonna share the next one for us too.
Oh, well, okay, you're double duty and
So I want to talk a little bit about substitutes. Prior to COVID, there was a substitute shortage. It's hard to fill positions. During COVID and after, it's been even more difficult to find qualified subs. It's always been difficult for our teaching staff, but our classified staff, it's also very difficult to fill. So we'll start with classified staff. So we have been a member of the ESD 113 cooperative, in which they recruited subs for us. They onboarded them, they did all the paperwork and sent them to us, and we requested a substitute through them. So you can see in the data for 22, 23, and 23, 24, that's when we were with the substitute cooperative, and our fill rates were not good. And so when we have an unfilled position, those buildings have to scramble. Groups get canceled, principals are filling. There were days this fall that Justin and I were doing lunch duty at Grand Mountain Elementary because they are vital positions that need filled. So something we did for the current school year is we moved to a new service called Teachers on Call. And they're a nationwide company, and they have nationwide power of recruiting, onboarding, training. They pay weekly. And so we decided to give them a try. We've been using them for our teachers, so we decided to use them for our classified. And the first 4 months of data has turned out pretty good. Our fill rates are higher than they've ever been for our classified and continue to grow. When we were with the cooperative, there was usually maybe 20 people on the list that were there to call, and we are over 45 now. So they have done a great job for us of recruiting people and onboarding them and getting them in our buildings. Secretaries have made comments to both Jennifer and I about how nice it is to not worry in the morning because they know for the most part, positions are going to be filled. And something with Teachers on Call is substitutes get paid weekly. So nuance of working for a school district is if you're a substitute, you work the month of September and you get paid October 31st. So you are essentially working for 2 months for us before you get paid due to the cycle of our payroll. So subs are really loving the fact that they get paid weekly.
and that's through this company we're using.
Teachers on Call, yes.
Question, so this helps our class sizes, so we're not having to move teachers around and put extra kids in classes?
So that, we'll talk about that next, but this is for our classified people. So these are for our EAs. These are the people that do recess duty and push in support. Yeah, this is data on them.
Okay,
Jill, what happened? I'm sorry, Neil.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
The one-on-ones, if a one-on-one doesn't show up,
Mhm.
how do you guys handle?
That's when we have to do the shuffle. We have to cancel title groups to get those kids a one-on-one. So the next slide is our teachers. So we've actually been with Teachers on Call. This is our second year with them, so we have a little more data with Teachers on Call. So the 22-23 data is our fill rate is when we were with the Lewis County Sub Cooperative. 60s, 70s were pretty normal. Our year average was 72.92. Last year, we increased quite a bit to 85.14% fill rate. And this year we are even stronger starting these first 4 months. So exactly what you're talking about in K5, that typically meant double, like if a first grade teacher is not there, you either double up a class or you disperse them to all the first grade teachers. 6-12, we typically have to buy out teachers' plan periods. So you have 6 different teachers, like math teachers absent. But first period, it's Mr. Smith's plan. So you pay him money to go teach during his plan. And second period is Mr. Young's plan. So you pay him to go cover. So it's just this hodgepodge of constantly doing it. But when we're able to do these fill rates, the days can go seamless. And again, it's really the recruiting efforts. The number of subs we have available has increased, both because of Teachers on Call and because we're not in a hiring market anywhere. So naturally that pool is getting a little bigger. But again, I have heard little to no complaints about teachers on call, and people are very happy with them, and it's really working for us.
And this is all managed at the building level. Is that right? Does this office get involved in calling subs and all that, or is it?
So it's all through an automated system. So a teacher's sick, they get up in the morning, there's an app, it's called Red Rover. They get on and request their sub. Hopefully somebody picks up that job. Where the building gets involved is if they show up and they see that I called in sick and I don't have a sub. So then they start that plan of what are we gonna do to cover these kids? So people aren't calling people. That's through an automated process. And Red Rover Teachers on Call actually watches, and if there are unfilled jobs, they'll start manually calling people to see if they can fill them last minute. But the workload on the building is really if school starting and there isn't a sub to come.
They switch.
Yeah.
So it sounds like a lot of great positive.
Mhm.
You know, it's important to have the ability to have the class structure continue to flow and as it should. Yeah, it just seems like it'd be a real big mess to have to, here's 5 kids here, here's 5
Yep.
kids here, just to, spread out the 27 kids or so average we have in our classes. Wonderful. And financially, this is working.
It is, we set the rates that they're paid, so that's still a local decision.
Yep, okay. And obviously they like coming here.
And there are a few neighboring districts that also use the system. Oakville uses them, Centralia uses them. So it's nice for a substitute. They can, similar to the cooperative that we use, it was a one-stop shop. Now they're able to sign up one time and can sub with Napa Vine, Centralia, Rochester, Oakville.
Do some of these teachers overlap? Like some of them are part of that cooperative?
Yes.
The cooperative.
Yep.
So, like you said, ESD.
And the Lewis County Substitute Cooperative, which is what we use for our teachers, no longer exist. That's why we originally moved to Teachers on Call, is because our option that we were using wasn't an option anymore. So we had to look for something new. And we were looking for something that was more efficient and could help us fill those positions.
Sounds like you've done a great job with your diligence, trying to make sure our school classes are meeting the standards we need to have on that. Any questions? Okay, go get some rest. Thank you, Joe. On to the superintendent report.
So first of all, just like Tristan said, Thursday is the end of the semester, which is tomorrow.
Wow.
Yep, I think we were halfway through the year on Tuesday or Wednesday, but first half of the year is coming to close. The kids are working hard, just like Tristan shared with you. We've got a lot of kids that are really finishing strong, which is awesome. And staff are working hard to make sure the kids have things in place to do that. So a lot of good things happen first semester. Next, I think you were aware, I saw in some emails that we did have the drones and robotic regional on Saturday. There were 6 different schools that came to RHS to compete. And there were 50 competitors from those 6 schools. I think that's 2 or 3 more than there were last year. But you can see the picture of all of the kids from our team on the right. And we did take first and second place in the drone competition. For the first time, we had an actual cage there that they did their drone competition in. So the kids had to fly their drones, and the drone had to look in different colored cups and indicate what color was inside the cup, and then go land on a platform that had that color as the base of the platform. Then they had to knock some golf balls off of little stands. Yeah. And then that final one was the one where it was a taller one with that arch over it. Yep, there's a platform. There was 4 or 5 platforms on that system, and they had to land the drone on each of the platforms. the student that stands to the side there that you can see in the first and second picture, that's kind of the spotter. And they will say, you know, you're right above the platform, land now. Or you're about ready, you're in line with the golf ball. Golf ball. So that they're kind of the extra eyes that help. But it was interesting to watch because as you remember, when we had the kids up at our state competition 2 years ago, and we lost the notebooks and things, the kids have to show their notebooks. They have to take an assessment. They have to do a presentation. And Zach and David actually didn't complete the drone performance as quickly as Stanton and Naomi, but yet when they put all the pieces of the puzzle together, Zach and David did come out ahead. So if you just watched the performance of the drone, you would think that Stanton and Naomi would have come out the winners. They were both did a great job and really performed very nicely there. And then the second group was our robotics kids. We still have more students competing in robotics. We had 5 teams there and they all placed. We didn't take second place. So we got everything but second. These kids are doing a great job as well. This is called the search and rescue robotics. So the kids develop and make their drones and they have to go through design work on that and document all the changes that they're making. And that's what their notebooks are all about, or the changes they're making along the way. And then they take their robot and they're finding 2 different, what do they call them? Ordinances, yes. And those ordinances are hidden. You can't see the mailboxes to the left of that house there, but they're hidden in the mailboxes. There's 3 mailboxes, or the ordinance might be inside the house. So the robot has to be able to open up the mailbox. It has to be able to open up the door of the house. It has to be able to grab the ordinance. It needs to be able to take it back, go outside of what I would call a rink or the performance area, yep, and drop it in a tub that sits outside of it, and then go back in to get the second one. So kids did a great job again. Mr. Coos is just wonderful with all of the kids. He was there coaching all the kids along, and whether the kids are from our school or not, he's providing them good feedback and how to go back and improve things they're doing with their robots and make some differences in the future when they're have the opportunity to compete again. We will soon hear how many of these kids go to state. We know the first place kids will be, and probably the first, second, and third place kids will be. So good.
Jennifer, this is all sizes of schools competing together.
Yes. Mhm.
Did we purchase that netting that was in the gym?
I believe it was made by Mr. Coos and team. Yeah, it really is a, I don't think you could purchase it somewhere. It's maybe, if we can, it probably was purchased, but my bet is after looking at it, that's probably
They probably built it.
put it together.
Bought the parts then and put it together.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just PVC pipe. Yeah.
Mhm.
We could probably sell them to other schools. So.
Yeah. That's kind of what I'm thinking. It's robotic money.
These kids are a juggernaut. Wonderful.
And they also, in the drones, they're working on building their own drones, so the kids have different drones that they're using. But they have to meet certain qualifications. If there's anything to add? Okay. Next, I wanted to just share with you a little bit about the 20-minute seated lunch, which you might have heard about. We've provided some input on what the impacts would be to us. To increase our lunch times would mean that we would need some additional staff in some areas, so it would cost more money. But what we're really doing is watching. Do we think our kids need more time for lunch? So I'm going to tell you what's happening in each of our buildings now. At RPS, all of the students go to lunch first for 20 minutes. And then after that, they go inside for lunch. So they've already been to recess, then they go inside, they sit down to have lunch. For the last student to get through the line, it takes about 7 minutes. So there are students who are eating or seated for, just less than 15 minutes. I have asked, and I've actually been out and watched, do we have kids that we think don't have enough time? What happens if we have kids who don't have enough time? Kids who, first of all, we don't see a lot of kids not having enough time. Kids are eating. Second, if there are students who still have food left, they do take it back to their classrooms with them. So they will carry it back and eat there. One of the things that's a big concern if we increase lunches from 20 to 30 minutes is, or if we go so that the kids are actually seated for 20 full minutes, because that's what they're saying is we should have 20 minutes of time with all kids seated, is that even though at RPS, we provide free meals to all of our students, we have about 50 to 70 kids who bring their lunches from home every day. And so they come in and they sit down right away and they do have 20 minutes to eat, right? And if they have, we start to increase that time, now we have kids that are being asked to sit seated for more than 20 minutes a time. And these are 5 and 6-year-olds, and seating for that long without something else to do can be when they start to have some problems. So that was what is a lot of the conversation there. With the administrators is making sure that we don't get to the point where we're having more problems because we're forcing kids to stay seated. But we do need to make sure our kids have time to eat everything, and they are watching that. At Ground Mound, our kids either have lunch for 20 minutes first or recess. So it flips back and forth. The kids go in for lunch. The maximum amount of time it takes to get half of the 3rd grade or half of the 4th grade through, because that's how many kids are at lunch at any given time, is 4 to 6 minutes. So sometimes they're done in 4, sometimes they're done in 6. But they go in there, they get their food, and then they eat. Again, if some kids need to stay a little bit longer and they are going out for recess, they could stay longer. Kelsey was telling me about some kids that she knew took a little longer in 3rd grade. They just weren't getting their food done. So those girls, there was, I think 3 girls, are allowed to come in early off of the playground, to come in and sit down early so they get started eating early. So the administrators are watching and really trying to take care of the kids within the amount of time we have right now, and they aren't seeing a big problem. But we continue to, as I said, just like Jill said, Justin and myself and Jill, we've all been in the lunchroom on days when we've been short EAs. And I didn't see any problems with kids not getting through the food that they have. And that meant eating the bananas and even asking for more. Can I go get another banana? So I'm not saying there aren't any kids who aren't eating and could use more time, but I think we are doing a good job of making sure that they get the time they need. At RMS, they do have 30 minutes for lunch. That does, the last 10 minutes is time where they can get up and they can go outside, and they call it recreation time. So they can get up from their seats and move around. It does take approximately 7 minutes maximum for the last student to get through the food line at RMS. But those kids can choose if if they're not done yet, they can stay and finish their lunch instead of getting up in that recreation time at the very end. Any questions?
Do you know what other school districts do? How much time they're doing?
So it really varies. There's some school districts who are, close to 15 minutes where they're pushing everybody through. Most school districts are not at the 20 minutes of kids seated in their seats, because that is hard to get to. But there are some who do. There's some that do even less than 15 minutes. There's a few I've heard of. Not
Some that are up at 30 or 40 or.
Nobody's at 40. I've heard 25. And if you had 25, then we would have our kids seated for 20 minutes, probably in just about every case. So
we're doing this now. It's not a
this is what we
proposal.
are doing now.
Okay.
Because the OSPI is studying the requirement of 20 minutes seated lunchtime for all kids. So we couldn't, our 20 minutes wouldn't start until 7 minutes into when kids get in and start eating for RPS.
Jennifer, you mentioned that the kids that bring the sack lunches, they're getting more than 20 minutes, but I don't know how they're.
Well, they're not getting
If
more.
lunches
They
is
get-
20, they get
Right,
20.
They get all of the 20,
They
yes.
get 20 and some go through lines, get less than.
Yes. When they, by the time they get seated, yeah.
Um. Again, going back 100 years, I just remember lunch being time when you got to visit with your friends and eat lunch and kind of more casual.
Mhm.
Are these kids doing a lot of that or are they pretty much silent eating?
No, at RPS, they do talk.
Yeah.
And then when it gets down to the last 3 or 4 minutes, they tell them, all right, we've got 3 minutes left. Let's focus on eating. And so then they remind the
So
kids.
they
that
get to visit with their friends.
They visit, yes.
I met all sorts of fourth and fifth graders at lunches when I helped cover.
Mhm.
They were very talkative at the same time.
Any other? any
Is
other
it a
questions?
bill that might pass
Now, this
or more of a?
It's,
This
there is,
legislature has said we want the study of, do kids need to have.
Just
seated?
study.
So OSPI is doing the study.
Okay, so I have heard a little radio talk.
Yeah.
two questions. One, 7 minutes last student to get food. Does that rotate between the different classes or is it always the same class that's always the last?
No, it kind of depends on when you arrive, correct? At GMES? Yep. So sometimes you'll be the first at the door and other times you might be the last class. It kind of depends on how fast things get closed up before they go to lunch and how fast kids get lined up and ready to go.
Right. And then my other question is for Tristan. How were the lunches at the high school? How's that
Good
working
question.
out? See, now you're still here. I almost left you, I almost forgot you were here. I should have released you to go already. I apologize.
How do they taste or how do they flow?
I mean, what's your general experience with the school lunches over there? You got enough time to eat? You're not like,
Oh.
sticking food in your pockets to get to the next
No,
class, right?
No, at the high school, really, I see a lot of kids just don't even really grab a lunch. If you want food, you go get it and it don't take very long. 3 minutes. If you're the very last person, I mean. Yeah, I don't see any problems with it. I mean, it's efficient and edible.
Does it need more salt or pepper?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Need some more salt, maybe like butter. No, I typically just bring snacks myself, but I eat breakfast and then eat when I get home. But yeah, that's I don't see a problem with the system that there is.
Excellent. Well, thank you for sharing your input. Appreciate that. And if you'd like to leave tonight, you sure may.
Oh, all right.
Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Finish strong on the semester.
Try. Thank you, guys. Have a nice night.
He was sitting there so quiet and I'm like, oh, I see everybody here listed but the high school. Hey, Tristan.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Huh.
All right, next up, the 4 areas that WASDA and WASA and all of the main educational organizations in the state are focusing on our work with the legislature, our transportation, physical education, and materials, supplies, and operating costs, or also known as MSOC funding. In this chart, this is the ESD statewide organization that has put this data together. But you can see here where Rochester is in each of the different areas, transportation, special ed, and MSOC, and where the deficiency in funding versus our expenditures is. And each of these 3 areas are areas where we do not get enough funding from the state. It does show you the time over 3 years, the data over 3 years, and you can see that we have closed the gap a little bit, but we still are in need of some additional funds. But 24-25 is obviously the year that's in progress now. So that is not complete data at all. And if you go to the next slide. So these are, we're currently watching. There's Senate Bill 5187, which is about pupil transportation. It requires the development of a transparent and predictable, as it says, and comprehensive student transportation funding model. There is already a expectation that is taking place now, the STAR program, but it's not working. And so this is a bill that really digs down and says, we need to do more work on identifying how much transportation really costs the school district and then look to be able to fund it adequately. So that's a bill that's being supported, and it's being supported by all the educational organizations in the state. The next one, Senate Bill 5307, the special education, there's two special education bills here. This first one increases the multipliers and eliminates the special education cap. It increases the multipliers and actually puts the funding for our special ed kids in it does it completely different when using the multipliers. And we get, when it talks about multipliers, we get more money for, say, a preschool student than we do for a high school student who is in general ed classes 80% of the time. And there's basically 3 different levels of funding in our current system with the multipliers. This bill would kind of restructure all of the way we get our funding for our special education kids. It does not eliminate, oh wait, sorry. It does eliminate the cap. This one does. Oh, and it does reduce the safety net threshold, which both of these bills do, which is a really good thing. It makes it so that we could apply for safety net funding at a lower dollar amount of based on our needs from the programs that we're providing some of our students with some real special program needs. And then Senate Bill 5263, that one also increases the multipliers, but in a system that is much like we're already working in, and it does reduce the safety as well. It doesn't eliminate the special ed cap, which right now the special ed cap is right about 16.5%, and that is where we are with our special education population is right around 16%. So elimination of the cap for us doesn't make quite the impact as making changes to the multipliers in the amount of money we get for individual students. And then the MSOC funding and that last bill, this is a bill that would increase the funding by approximately 12%. That is nowhere near what we need to be getting, but at least it's a movement in the right direction. And so there's lots of talk around this bill just to keep supporting it. These 4 bills were all heard at the early learning K-12 education committee today. And so providing lots of input on these. But bills to watch. And then I'm going to have Ed, since he's here tonight, talk about this one. We were able to purchase a van.
Well, I'm gonna say Jill did a fantastic job by finding us this van. This is a van that we bought for probably a third of what it's looked at. We got it today into the shop, had a safety inspection, everything is fantastic on it. So we're just doing the paperwork, and you will probably see it in service next week. So it will probably take our old blue van out of service. Just an example of the money savings. We spent more money repairing vans than we purchased this one for. So it's a huge asset to us. Came from Mary M. Knight. They had 2 of them. We bought this one. We were the first ones to get there and get it. Again, thanks to Jill for finding it right away. So.
And thanks to Ed for going out there and looking at it. Yes, we want this one. This is a good one, but.
And we use this for.
Is this for students?
For students?
Yep.
Yeah. It's a 7 passenger.
The one that we gave up or that we're surplusing, how many hundreds of thousands of miles?
It was bought back in
I was still teaching.
Yeah. Yeah.
74.
Yeah. It wasn't like CPE and then it went to.
Harold and I got it,
Yeah, so it's, yeah,
yeah.
it's not only, it's mechanically failing, but it's not very presentable. It's rusting through one spot.
We bought it used too.
Yeah, so.
Did you really?
We've rubbed as much love as we possibly can into that van. I think is where we're at.
The fanciest van we had for a decade.
Maybe the only van?
And the only van we have for that game.
I sent it to Ed. I was like, this looks better than the rusty.
Yeah, you should have put a picture.
We should.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, my.
No, it's a nice, it has 80,000 miles on it. I mean, it's a nice find. It was an incredible deal. Yeah.
The majority of
Really?
the driving will be done in district with it.
It's coming from another school, so it's already DOT inspected. Everything is, it's put in service, we'll get plates on it and we'll be driving it.
And we went to purchase it and it was supposed to be $2,000 and he ended up buying it for $1,500. How'd that work?
You gotta wheel and deal. I had to try to up Joe just a little bit. She found such a good deal. So, yeah, no, it's just a good van. So no surprises on anything. Mary McKnight's an hour away, so it was a good test drive driving it back, so yeah, it's nice and clean. It's just as clean as seats are like bread. Yeah, so it'll be a nice van. I already talked to some of the coaches and stuff and like bowling or whatever, if there's five, there's room in the back for ball or bowling balls, all that kind of stuff, yeah. Golf, whatever, so you'll get plenty of use.
And next up, and I found this picture, Ed, I know it's not our picture, but I needed something.
Yeah.
So Ed's gonna share with you a little bit about the dry pipe sprinkler system at RHS.
Yeah, we're doing the dance again with our the dry system, the fire suppression system at the high school. Pipes rusting through. We've been going through, this is a system that we have to have an outside contractor come in and work on because it's fire sprinkler system. We work closely with Night Fire, which works great with us. So to come in, we've done things to keep the system going until they get here Friday. Friday, they're coming in and putting in new pipes. This will be the third time we've done that in the last 6 years that I've been here. And by no, it'll help our situation right now, but like I told Jennifer earlier, this is no guarantee that we won't be revisiting this 30 days from now, just because the pipes are just rusted and it's just failing. It's a huge deal.
And would you explain what happened, why we were alerted to the?
So the way that this dry system works, unlike the wet system is charged with water and water pressure. The dry system runs in areas where it isn't heavily insulated and it has it's air pressured system. And when that pipe rusts, it loses that air pressure. We have an air compressor that rises the system. Well, that air compressor typically kicks on once a day is what it should kick on. It should kick on once a day, really maximum, to maintain 45 PSI in those airlines. And our HVAC guy happened to notice that it was cycling quite often. And it was all the way down to 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Every 2 minutes and 20 seconds, the compressor would kick on, kick on, kick on, kick on. Well, anybody that has a shop and a compressor knows that it don't take long to burn that up. Well, once that compressor stops pressurizing those pipes, then it acts as if it's a discharge from a sprinkler head. So it as if that sprinkler head got hot and released the pressure, because that's what happens. Then it floods the system with water and can kick sprinklers on. So it's a huge deal. That's also the same system that we just got to patch it into the generator system. So if we lose power and that compressor shuts off, now our emergency generator, it supplies that compressor and keeps it going. So every time that system, if we don't catch it and it gets flooded, it costs us $1,000 to have Night Fire come in and we have to drain the system, especially this time of year. It's incredibly dangerous because when it's 25 degrees out and those pipes are flooded with water, and then they freeze and they split everywhere. It's just a huge challenge. All those drops you see around the school, those pipes sticking down with valves and an expanded pipe, that's all to connect condensation and stuff. We drain those once a week this time of year. That's part of that system.
So I'm a little slow tonight. You're showing us this because we bought.
I'm showing you this because we bought.
Ours is broken.
Ours is, it's broke down again to where our compressor was kicking on every 2 minutes and 20 seconds. The guys were all over it, doing everything we can to try to seal up fittings and chase gaps. We got our compressor up to where it's up to 22 minutes now. It only turns on every 22 minutes.
Okay.
But Night Fire is coming out to replace sections of pipe on Friday. Friday, we have no school. So they're coming out to replace sections of pipe. When I say coming out to replace sections of pipe, it's not like the primary school or the middle school, that we could do this during the day, during the week, and nobody would really even know what's going on. But at the high school, we literally have to cut holes in walls and monkey climb through and fishtail pipe through there to get it where it's got to have to go. There's no infrastructure, there are no upstairs maintenance mezzanine to work on stuff like this. If this was the primary school, we would already have all this pipe stored up there. We would already have all the fittings there, and we would have people working on it as soon as the bell was out at 3:30. And, you know, it's not the way that it works at the high school. In the high school, you got ladders in the hallway, and other people fishing. We're gonna be fishing pipes up with rope 30 feet up into the roof, and it's just a huge challenge.
So you're replacing part of the piping with the dry.
The pipes that have rusted through and they're leaking, correct?
Okay,
Yeah,
so part of it will be dry,
Right.
part of it will be.
yeah. The last time we did this, it was just under $20,000 in pipe.
Replace the pipes with PVC or is it?
No, it's steel pipe.
Oh, it has to be steel,
You know, it's just
the
steel.
pressure and.
Yeah, and they just rust through. It's just, you know, and like I said, we'll replace this, but and we can check all the pipe and it seems fine. You may have another one that 30 days from now rust through. I mean, the last one we had was in the stadium. And it started just a little hiss that you could slightly hear. And, you know, unfortunately, we had a football game that night. And so we did everything we could to keep it pressurized. And by the time we can get them out, it was a hole the size of a nickel. So with, because it just, the more pressure, the pipes are rusted. If you get a leak, all that abrasive goes out that hole and just sandblasts. So it's just, there's no stopping it. Other than replace it. There's no other fix. So is this galvanized pipe or? It's cast iron pipe and it's steel pipe and it's just doesn't hold up, you know, I mean, it's Schedule 40, but it's just old. It's an 89 and it every time you get water in it, it rusts and condensates. And every time the temperature changes, it condensates and sweats and that's where we're at.
So how are we getting water into the pipe? Is it?
Condensates. Every time, just like today's a perfect day. It's 24 degrees when we go to work and it warmed up to 40 degrees and the sun comes out. No, it feels good on your windshield. And then right now it's getting back to 30 degrees and that heat and temperature change, it just condensates like crazy. It just, and there's no circulation.
There's no way to wrap them, like, I mean, like in the stadium, you guys have repaired that.
Well, these are all in the overhangs of the building and up through areas that aren't insulated. You know, and then that's the other thing that we're fighting right now is our HVAC guy he's pulling his hair out right now because he's just like, and I can't keep the school warm. That's what I was talking to Dylan earlier about how warm is the school because the boiler only heats the water so hot and circulates it through the school. And by the time it gets back, it's, 32 degrees. And it just can't, it just isn't designed like with all the kids opening the doors. We have so many kids in portables coming in and out that the school wasn't designed for. That it just it takes all the heat away. So every room is active heat and the boiler just can't provide it. This is the last time we fought this, it got down to 12 degrees and we had to remove filters from vents and have ladders and hallways and ceiling tiles out just to try to keep the water circulating through with the heater going to try to keep the temperature. And that was when the outside classrooms that had windows were 58 degrees. That's the warmest we can get them. So this is when it's in its mid 20s. So if it gets into the mid teens, it's just the building that we have. It's the only building that we have this issue with.
So I just wanted Ed to share with you tonight what was taking a considerable amount of time from his team working. And it doesn't look like it's going to be an expensive fix this time, but we were concerned that it might be expensive. And so also be aware of what was going on in case it ended up being an expensive fix.
Well, thank you for all you do. I feel like I should just get you a thing of WD-40 and a roll of duct tape for Christmas.
I think you need more than that.
Well, at least I can afford on my own. But yeah, I understand the challenges of working with old stuff and trying to keep things working that,
Yeah, the advantage for me is we have a really good maintenance team right now. Everybody 100% likes coming to work, doing their job. And with this kind of a problem, that's what you have to have. You can't have somebody just punches a time clock. You have to have people that want to make it right. So that's a huge benefit for us. And thank you to the school board for everything that you do, giving us the tools to make it happen.
I'm proud to give you the tools.
And I'll take the duct tape.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a brownie hope.
I got a brownie.
Got one around me.
Any questions on that at all? Or-
No, man, just thank you. We know you're working hard and your team.
Hey.
Oh,
Ed invited me over, because my daughter works here, so they had a joint holiday party, Christmas
Yeah,
party.
Christmas party, yeah.
As many years I've been around, I've never been to Ed's place. It's pretty impressive over there, how big that is and all that you have going. We
It's a
should
nice place.
board over there, maybe we get warmer.
Oh, okay, the shop area?
Yeah,
Mhm.
and just,
Yep.
have you guys been there?
You toured it once.
You did? Maybe everybody else has been there, I hadn't, but anyway, I was impressed by how.
Yeah, I was a maintenance custodial and food service Christmas party. We do it every year.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Pretty good time.
But yeah, anyway, something to think
Yep,
about when it's
definitely.
warmer and we take a walk around.
What do you mean? You don't want to go out there in the cold?
No, I don't want to go.
All right, next up, I'm just gonna show you a video. This, if you remember, we recognized Maggie.
Yep.
And in February, she will be recognized at the EESA, no.
Yeah,
EA.
ESEA.
It's ESEA, thank you. National Conference. This Bob Harmon Service Award winner, she is the only one in the country that is being recognized for an award. So I just wanted to make sure that you realize the levity of the award that she's getting. Her name or her picture is already on the website. And then when she gets the award, they will be showing this video. So I wanted you to be one of the first to see this video. Yep.
Good. All right.
Cool.
Yes.
Very
so-
cool.
Nice.
So on February, I think it's 21st, she'll be recognized and all of the nation will hear about Rochester. and
So where are they
Maggie
recognizing
Evans.
her at? Where's that at?
It's in Austin, Texas. So, yep. So excited for her and very deserving award she's received.
Wonderful.
On our Rochester.
Not yet, but it will be.
It
That,
What she gets the award.
yep.
Yeah.
mhm. Oh, I'll share the heck out of that.
Yeah.
Just a few things coming up. We don't have school on Friday. That is our semester break day. On the 12th of February is our next work session. And then we don't have school on the 17th and 18th of February. That's our winter break, and President's Day is on the 17th. And then the 26th is our February board meeting. Okay.
Right. Thank you. Lots of great stuff. Congratulations to Maggie again. Cool. Well, at this point in time, we're gonna move on to number 7, new business. And we have a first reading of policies.
Yep, so I am happy to review any policies that you would like. I do want to draw your attention to the final policy, which is policy 6022. And it's final one there.
Yeah.
What's that?
Is that in here?
Yes, it is. There you go. We had talked about this one and updating what the board would like our fund balance policy to be. We had talked about just saying it needs to be 8%. In talking, we said we really like an upper end. And we had talked about 12%. I'm bringing this back to you to make sure I point out that after I talked to Jill, Jill really felt that 11% was a good number to be at. So she is here. She can speak to that a little bit more if you have any questions, but our proposal is at 8 to 11% funding, what we would strive to have.
And this
Questions for
is,
Jill?
when was the last time that we changed this, Jill?
I've changed it since we originally adopted it
And that was back when,
more than 10 years ago,
2010?
Yep.
Okay.
14 years ago.
Thank you. I just want to make sure that we're holding this balance in
Yes.
order to stay where we're basically $3 million a month our costs. Just, there are many districts that are in financial difficulties, and I want to make sure we don't become one. And us having to take a loan out to do payroll because we don't have enough, that shouldn't happen.
So that's what.
So 11% is good. You think that we'll be fine at that point? Okay. Board members, any other questions? I don't want to be the one just talking about everything. Good. No?
So the other policy is, excuse me, 210, which is non-discrimination from a student perspective, and then 1510, which is non-discrimination, affirmative action from the staff. We did review these at our work session, if there's any questions. Oh, I did, there was a section in both 3210 and 5010 that cited that the superintendent is kind of the last go-to person. So I am not going to be the first go-to person. We're going to be changing that. Excuse me.
Okay. This is the one you had pulled back because you had used some rework on it.
Yes, just
Okay.
had a couple questions and those were the ones.
Okay, understand. Just remember, so.
Yep. Are there any other questions? Okay. So this is just first reading.
Questions, board members? No, we will move on. Number B, EMES donation, Grand Mound Boosters.
This is a donation by Boosters Association. They've given us, or given Grand Mound, $3,000 to purchase 530 books. And these will, these will be done or used for the readathon that they have in May.
That's awesome.
Yep.
So this is like for the library or something?
Like, the kiddos.
Yep,
It's not through like the Dolly Parton thing.
no, this is the boosters purchasing books.
And how do they pick their books? Is there like a block of books that you buy, or how does that work?
I'm not sure.
I think teachers have given input on the
Okay.
types of books at each
Oh,
grade
there we
level.
go. We could ask Brenda.
So we're doing last year they bought the Wild Robot, every single student at Grand Mountain Elementary and the teachers, we all got Wild Robot. So this year they asked for teacher input, and kind of gave some suggestions because they're kind of leaning into, how about Wild Robot 2? Because the kids really loved Wild Robot and the movie just came out. So they are purchasing the Wild Robot 2 for every student and teacher. And we're gonna do, this year, they actually moved it back to March so that we're aligning with the Read Across America week. So GMES will be doing readathon along with RPS does a big deal over like the Read Across America. So every single student will have that book in hand and will be getting to read, and they do like a bingo and they get to earn prizes and for the amount of time that they read. So.
This is great. Makes me think though about like our libraries. Do we ever surplus books out of the library? Or is that not a thing really?
Don't know if we've ever.
We have, there, if they're destroyed, yes.
Yeah.
But typically, no, we haven't done a ton of surplusing out of libraries recently.
Okay, I was just thinking Kate's bookmobile thing, like we ever
Oh,
did,
yeah.
maybe
Mhm.
donate it to her.
Yep.
She gets her out tab.
Wild Robot 2.
Yeah, I was just thinking, because I know like Centralia gets a lot of the Dolly Parton books.
And we do publicize that and make sure families know about that. Because that the families,
Right, they can sign up for it and get the book, but I thought they were getting like cases too. I
oh,
know. Yeah,
okay, yeah, find out,
because,
let me know.
yeah, because we gave a whole bunch away at the fair, the youth fair last year.
Okay, yeah,
I mean, cases, you know.
let me know.
Well,
I
I
haven't
will
heard
look
about
at that.
that.
I will ask about that. That might be a United Way thing too,
Okay,
so.
I know somebody up in Olympia area that's associated with United Way.
Mhm.
We'll ask about that.
Yeah, because we're Thurston County, so it wouldn't be Lewis County United Way, so.
so I need
Okay.
approval here.
All right, so I gotta take nominations.
That's what my daughter.
All right.
It might have been.
All right. Well, moving on.
Do we have a motion to approve?
Oh, the donation? Yes, okay, apologies. Do we have a motion to approve the donation?
So moved.
Second?
Yep.
And we have a second? Second. Motion and seconded. Any discussion? Thank you. All right. Okay, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All I heard was a cough. Motion passes. All right. Next, we're moving on to the next election for WIAA representative from the Rochester School District. As a board member, at this point in time, Grant Rodever has been appointed. And do we need to make a motion on this one? Okay. So we have a motion to approve Grant for the WIAA board rep. I will first that, one thing I don't have to do.
We have a second.
Do we have a second?
Second.
And we have a second. All right, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, Grant, you're the man. Thank you. Thank you for stepping up. And next on our list will be our 2025 and 2026 academic calendar.
So this is the calendar. We put two calendars out to our teachers and our classified all staff. And this was the calendar that was most desired by the staff. It is a little different than what we've done in the past. We will have our last day of classes on December 18th.
On when?
On December 18th, with vacation starting on the 19th. So we will actually have 11 days off from school there. This was highly preferred by the staff when we put it out there. We do have to have 2 weeks. That's part of our contract, and we have to present 2 different calendars. And so this was our second calendar option, and it became a very popular one. It meant we went a day longer in June, so because we are taking an extra day off around the winter break. But that is the one that they have recommended that the board approves.
First day of school is the first, we're reading this right?
First day with students, our first day that we count is the 27th of August with our student-led conference or our success conferences. And then the kids are in classes on the first day on the 2nd. Monday, the 1st is Labor Day.
Oh, okay. I agree. So the second. And then, I'm sorry, the last day is June 10 or 19?
June 10th. 18th is Juneteenth.
June 10, okay. So for the green ones are the first.
Yep, the green is the first.
It have graduation on there, doesn't it?
Doesn't have graduation on there, but my bet is it's gonna be the 7th of June.
Sunday.
The high school.
Yep, for the high school. So we need a motion to approve.
All right, well, board members, looking for a motion to approve our district calendar, academic calendar for 25-26.
So moved.
We have grants approved. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Right. We've had first and a second. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. All right. Next. Travel out of state trip request. I believe this is about me, correct?
This is Maggie. It does, I am requesting to go as well. I think it would be really nice if I could be there with her as she gets recognized. So it would be for Maggie and I to go to the ESEA conference in Austin, Texas. Most of Maggie's trip is paid for by OSBI. And so my portion of the trip would be paid for using title grant funds.
So no out of pocket for the school district.
Right. I did put the schedule there. It's a very well done conference with a lot of quality sessions to attend.
You've been to that before.
Years ago.
Very
Long
glad.
time. Yeah.
You're right. Well. Okay, well, at this point in time. We'd like to take we have to vote for this one also?
Yep.
Okay. We have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
So moved and seconded. All right. Any discussion?
Take lots of pictures.
You got it.
All right.
Snow boots.
Yeah. Yeah. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none? You're going to Texas. All right. Thank you very much. All right, perfect timing. I closed out my computer, so I gotta look over here. So at this point in time, number 8, public comments for items that were not on our agenda for the evening. We have none. No one's here. The lights are off out back. All right. Hearing that there's no one here. Time, I think it's time for our adjournment. Meeting is over.